Return of the Boogeyman marks the actual return of old Stockinghead and the tying up of all the loose ends of the evil mirror ghost. Okay, one of those things happens. Return of the Boogeyman seems to be yet another movie that Lommel was super impressed with as he went uncredited for his co-direction and writing. He still shows up as producer though, couldn't get rid of all of them I suppose. One, nice music. Two, were we supposed to see her start to turn back from running there? Three, amazingly generic title card. 4, you're somehow doing a worse job of setting this one up than Boogeyman 2! Our main character is Annie, played by the Kelly Galindo, I guess, whatever. You might know her from playing Fake Wonderwoman in the unaired Wonder Woman show, but probably not, because that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Anyway, here she plays this woman running around a beach for whatever reason, and second build is Susanna Love. You know, Lacey from the first 2 movies. She does not even briefly cameo in this movie. She gets second billing due to the use of stock footage. Oh yes, we're doing that again. But first, it's time for this movie's biggest action scene as Stockinghead is watching Annie cut an apple on the beach, which clearly annoys him so much that he's gotta go put a hand on her shoulder. Oh wow, I can't believe that Stockinghead's taken things up to this new level. He chases her around for a little, but he doesn't want to continue his evil shoulder handing when other people are around, because that'd be embarrassing, so that's the end of that. So the mirror shards are no longer a factor in anything, but I mean, why should they be? They were hardly prominent or anything, right? And it's no longer a force that possesses people and objects, it's a supernatural, regular person. But with a stocking on their head, can't forget that!
Annie continues to have nightmares, terrifying daydreams. Annie has been my guest at the beach house for the last 3 months. We've gone through various types of therapy.
Did you try therapy that didn't involve her staying at your beach house first, or was that clearly not an option?
In every one of her experiences appears one man, a man with no face.
What, Stockinghead? What connection does she have with him?
Where are they?
The woman. She pulls off a stocking from her leg.
Oh, of course, her connection to Stockinghead is she can flash back to events she didn't witness. Yeah, she's supposed to have psychic ability, but how and why is she seeing this event from 15 years ago?
She puts the stocking over his face. He's now a man with no face.
No, he's the man with a stocking on his head. His face is still quite visible.
And she laughs.
Oh, and this is the big twist on showing us the Boogeyman footage. This time they narrate over pretty much all of it, and that really keeps it fresh this 3rd or 4th time.
The man discovered the children.
Even though we clearly see in the footage it's the mother discovering them. You'd think by now Lommel would have this movie memorized, but I don't get it. Did he not want to make these sequels? Or was he just trying to find a way to very lazily make more money off the Boogeyman without putting in any real effort?
And she's drunk. The mother.
The mothers are watching you. Be careful of all that you do.
The little girl.
What's her name?
Her name is Natalie.
Natalie? Did you just say Natalie? Yeah, Lacey's only been the main character of both the other 2 movies, and her actress gets second billing on this one since you reused so much of the first movie footage. I see how you'd forget her name! Okay, whatever, we know how the scene goes, and listening to someone narrate it really doesn't make it any more exciting to see for the 17th time.
Annie and I have gone back in time. I am not sure whether Annie fantasized or whether the murder really took place. And I'm unclear about Annie's role in the murder.
Aw, that's cute that you think she might actually have a connection to the first movie footage, 'cause no, she doesn't.
Clue to this horrifying mystery.
Oh, hi!
Yes?
My name is Vincent Sunderberg. I'm a student in parapsychology at the University of California.
Well,
What a story.
Okay, so this Why So guy is now randomly part of Team Watch Annie in Bed, but besides that, he's a really interesting and well-developed character. Oh, would you actually like some proof of that? Look over there!
She enters the bathroom.
Ah, that quick cutting every time there's a drip is really annoying to watch. Stop it! Well, when the scene isn't being barely watchable, it's barely audible.
Hear music.
What's your name? Remember your name?
My name. You know my name.
The editing on this scene is just atrocious. It goes back to the drip cuts and it takes forever just to show us that someone throws a radio in the bathtub with her. Okay, they've done it. They've made me more interested in her recapping the Boogeyman than her seeing anything else new.
What's your address?
Please, it's hot. It's burning. I can't stand it anymore.
All I need is your address, Alicia.
It's 1754 Willard Drive.
Oh yeah, everything else super vague, but the exact address, yeah, I can pull that up. I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
For the first time, she clearly identified the time and space of the murder.
Hey, she told you the other one was 15 years ago, just meant there wasn't a whole lot you could do about it. And does her constant sleeping have any relevance to anything? Haha, no.
How old were you when you discovered you had this special gift?
Oh, I believe I was 5 years old.
End scene! Perfect! Totally worth it!
This is the city of a million stories.
I'm sorry to bother you, Mr.
Beauchamp.
You mean they didn't explain this to them before coming over here? Also, I really love the random sepia with the hint of blue color thing you got going here. Just like the echo voice in Boogeyman 2, it's quite the impressive mistake to pull off.
We meet a rather bizarre crowd at Willard Drive, a rock band and their impresario, trying to make it in Hollywood.
They've just gotta sit around and watch a few more music videos and they're definitely in.
So this murder is supposed to take place in my house?
Yes.
How exciting.
Would you mind if we took a look at your bathroom, Mr. Beauchamp?
Not at all.
Oh, hey, look, the color's normal up there. Well, for a little bit anyway, because they have to wait around all day to see if some girl shows up and dies in the bathtub.
The hour of the projected murder comes and goes.
Aw, man, it looks like Annie was wrong, which obviously means it's time for a pinkish-tinted running around the beach scene with Why So. Oh yeah, and this was his biggest scene. Told you he was really important. Yeah, even this implied romance between these two is never brought up again. And that night we see the woman show up in the bathroom, someone else unlocking doors, meaning Stockinghead can't even teleport now. Stockinghead is really now just some guy with a stocking on his head who kills random people. I mean, at least before the evil mirror shard had to shine on them, but now there's nothing.
Huh. Radio. What's going on with that radio?
And she dies the exact same way as we'd seen before, giving them the opportunity to even reuse footage from this movie in addition to the Boogeymans. And over where it's day for night out indoors, Cowboy Guy finds the body, but who was this Bathwoman? He even seemed to know who would be when Annie and crew were there. But of course he calls in the Annie crew investigations right away.
I found her in the bathtub, electrocuted, at midnight.
Ah, so she is right about everything, only a day off. Annie, just try to, reboot your psychic calendar, and if that doesn't work, try an update, because version 3.1 of the psychic calendar is supposed to be much more accurate. Jeez, man, trim your eyebrows.
She only made one error.
What's that?
She announced Alicia's death exactly 24 hours before it happened.
You needed Cowboy to tell you that? Also, why aren't the police there? Shouldn't the place at least be closed off? I mean, they must have been there already as the body is gone, or did Cowboy just throw it in the garbage?
The mirror.
The mirror.
In the mirror on the wall?
Yes.
It's not the man, it's not the man, it's the mirror.
And that allows them to flash to the Boogeyman footage and the bath again. But what is the implication of this? He can travel through mirrors? There wasn't a mirror at the beach, and why did he have to unlock doors then?
Now you guy over there, you're gonna end up in the same bathtub. And now get out of here. Get out of here, guys, right? Leave it, leave it. I told you to just leave.
Sorry for the inconvenience.
Inconvenience, come on, chill out.
All right,
Come
all
on,
right.
chill out, guys. Get out.
You called them there. I don't even know what he's upset over, except maybe that they can never get the color right in his place. Oh, very impressive. You can intercut between two women on couches.
I mean, I could have prevented my own brother's death if I would have just not been afraid.
What? Coherency! Try at least a little, movie! You didn't prevent Bathwoman's death now, so I don't know where any of this comes from. Was your brother supposedly killed by Stockinghead even?
If Natalie could materialize right here to take Annie's place.
Well, that won't be happening because I guess Lommel couldn't convince his wife to reprise the role of Natalie for a third time. And also, why would you think that's possible?
Step forward and enter the world of the mirror.
I see a woman with her little boy. I've seen her before. Her name is Natalie.
Sorry to keep bringing this up, but how do you screw up the main character's name like this? It's not like they didn't have the rights to use Lacey. And you'd think they have at least had to have heard it when writing the brilliant voiceover dialogue for the Boogeyman stock footage scenes. And oh look, another flashback within a flashback of a scene already flashback to. Never get tired of that.
Annie connects with Natalie. Both are troubled by nightmares.
So the Boogeyman footage is supposed to be happening at the same time? Yeah, sure looks like it.
Her husband wants to help her. Just like you, Dr. Love, are trying to help me. Natalie and I are very much alike.
Oh, you two both have problems. Yeah, you're regular kindred spirits then.
They walk inside. They're now entering the living room. There's another girl.
Who is she?
I don't know.
You know, you really don't have to recap such pointless things. I mean, I would never do that. Well, got me again, Bugster.
They are talking. Still in the living room, Natalie and her husband decide to walk upstairs. They continue walking upstairs.
Phelous again got angry at them not cutting the footage down and continuing such pointless recapping. So they recap that whole scene in the same manner, then cuts to them with the mirror put back together, then cuts back to the other people at the house getting killed off by the last mirror shard. If these are supposed to be happening at the same time, the massive time cuts happening in the Boogeyman footage make no sense, and I love that they'll cut around these things but show all of this.
The girl enters. She cleans up the room. She tidies up the bed. She discovers the piece.
They didn't even show the other two get killed this time because they really need to show all of that. But hey, look, they added something new. Stockinghead to the mirror there because we were too dumb to get that before.
You better eat all the food on your plate, 'cause my brothers have moved out of state.
After an exciting scene of cutting some onions, it's time for more stock footage as Annie goes back to bed so she can dream of Lacey's brother being a murderer dream, intercut with Willie being tied to bed and stabbing Stockinghead, and trying to imply that Stockinghead is killing the girl on the bed, I think? This scene just keeps going on with no dialogue for 4 minutes. But hey, the pointlessness can hardly stop there as it's time to recap one of my favorite scenes ever of the randoms on the beach dying.
She's dead. Andrea.
Oh, we're giving a name to a previously unnamed character from the Boogeyman, but still couldn't get Lacey's name correct? Well, it's finally time to start recapping the final scene of the movie with the usual excitement.
The mirror glows red. Red. A piece flies into Natalie's eyes. Natalie's in the kitchen.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was her therapist's idea to have her lay topless on the mirror for better psychic reception. I mean, this is the guy who got her to come live with him for therapy and watches her sleeping all the time. This is another conversation you just really have to hear. Hey, Annie, I think to fully expose your psychic ability, you should expose your breasts. How will that help? Trust me, Annie, I'm a doctor. Well, at least I like to pretend I am.
With the mirror in her eye, Natalie is now a part of the man with no face. Natalie's father is dead. And so is her mother.
So Lacey's uncle and aunt turned into Natalie's brother and mother. Was it really too much for someone on the crew of Return of the Boogeyman to watch the Boogeyman at least once? Also, she has a much older brother, huh?
You must warn her. You must help her.
I must enter Natalie's body. I must warn her. I must help her so that...
You mean Natalie. Also, aren't you dead? Or are you supposed to be her uncle this time? Or her aunt?
The well, the water, the mirror. The well, the water, the mirror.
Oh, are you kidding me? This is supposed to be the entire payoff, Annie psychically telling them to throw the mirror in the well? Wow. Just wow.
I finally won the battle over evil. The man with no face is gone.
That makes no sense whatsoever what you've done in this movie.
Now I must try on my stockings to prove to myself one last time that I am free.
But now she's become the woman with no legs. You know what? That actually makes too much sense for this movie. So that Why So guys completely disappear by this point, and Annie's going home all alone. Or is she?
Da-da-da-da! Curious.
Oh, well, glad that wasn't overly predictable or anything. Ugh, what a movie. 2 words. Terrible. Terrible? At least when Boogeyman 2 flashed back to footage from the Boogeyman, it was with a character who was in that film. This was just the worst half-assed way to try and combine some silly other plot where nothing happens with the footage unless you really want to count a little beach chase and a radio being dropped in a bathtub as things happening. Come on, Lommel, if your sequels are just going to turn to really crappy flashback movies, it's really not worth it. In fact, it wasn't even worth me reviewing these. Hello? Phil? Philip? Are you there? This one was his jam. Philip? Yeah, that's your name now. Don't bother reviewing the Lommel Boogeyman films. It's really not worth it. Couldn't you have stopped me before I did the newer Boogeyman trilogy? Those were the ones that really weren't worth it. No, I couldn't because you're reviewing The Boogeyman at the same time that I'm reviewing Return of the Boogeyman. Seriously. That makes no sense whatsoever, so just to end this stupid skit, I'll say yes, I won't review The Boogeyman. Whew, there we go. Now everything is nice and wrapped up with a paradox, because in order to tell myself not to review these movies, I'd have to review them. And obviously the videos are still released. Okay, do the review, just throw water at the mirror at the end. Of course. Yup, I totally told him to do that. The day is saved and we can finally close the door on the Boogeyman chapter.
I don't like this movie, doesn't look too friendly. This monster seems so fake, my nerves are gonna break. Phelous, don't let me down, you need to be around. Grab that running one up and blast that sing a new one. This movie looks shitty. Phelous, so Phelous, bring a multi-comedy of Phelous, so Phelous, and some horror movies of Phelous, so
stay tuned, guys, for my review of the Boogeyman.